Okay, hello and welcome to the weekly vlog. That's a week behind. So this is a double episode, double review, double um, just yeah. My normal laptop is broke. Um, in for repairs at the moment. So what I am doing is, I was waiting for it to get fixed, and I was hoping it would have been fixed before now. But now we're sort of into the second week. So I thought I would just come along here and give a little update now that I am finished the main block of training and before I start going into the taper. So yeah, it's sort of I'm hopefully not going to make it very long. Um, but I'll just rattle through the training, how things have went, some of the key sessions that I've done, how they felt, and how I am sitting now going into the final 3 weeks before Dublin. Well, 2.5 weeks by the time this video goes out. So we are all the way back to the 26th of September for what would be episode 9, which was week 16 of the training block. I started off doing nice couple of EVs. So I'll go back. Sorry, I'm sort of mumbling my words here because I'm usually doing these here on a video and I can edit it and things like that there. So I probably will trip over quite a few different words and things like that. But anyway, so yeah, 26th of September, Tuesday. I had just completed 19 miles with 15 at marathon pace the Sunday before. So on Tuesday morning, I done a nice and easy 4 mile recovery run. Nothing to sing about, nothing to dance about. It was what it was. It was a nice, easy paced recovery run, very much the heart rate under control. I then done my day's work, came home and did another 6 miles that afternoon, bringing me up to just over 10 miles for the day. Then on the Wednesday, the 27th, I done a 10 mile easy run. Again, this was super easy. It was actually worked out at 8:54 average. I jumped on the treadmill. If I remember correctly, this was Storm Agnes. So it had said that there was a huge storm coming here in Northern Ireland and to expect rain, wind, and to stay indoors. And I didn't really want to sort of get hit by trees or branches and things like that there. So I decided just to stick to the treadmill for this here. So it took me about an hour and 29 minutes. It was 8:54 average. Aerobically, it was an absolutely real easy run. I don't think my heart rate ever peaked over 150, maybe 155 towards the end of it. But yeah, it was just a nice long endurance run. The next day, I did some speed work, some interval session. The original plan was to do 5 by 600 meters. But I took myself down to St. Malachy's Gaelic Club in Castle Dawson. It's somewhere where I've done a few runs before, and I noticed that they have around the outside of one of their pitches 400 meters marked out. So there's a start line, 60 meters, 100 meters, 200, and 400 marked out. And then by the time you get to the start line, it's another 100 meters. So yeah, what I thought, to do 600s at it, would maybe throw me off a little bit. So I thought I would do 400s and just increase the amount of them. And I ended up doing 8 by 400s. This was meant to be at 5K pace. So I think from one of the earlier episodes, what I done was pretty much, and I've stuck to this philosophy, whatever the first interval is done at, try and hold it. And I went out far too fast on this one here. I ended up going out at sub 6 minute mile pace, doing 400 meters in 1 minute 21. So the plan was then to do the rest of the 800s at that pace. And you know what? While it was hard work to maintain it, I did. I ended up doing them in, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them done at 121, 2 at 120, and 1 at 118. So it was really consistent for the first 5 400s and then ramped it up just a little bit for the final 3. Real good workout, getting the legs turning over. Wasn't wearing super shoes. I was just wearing a pair of standard Zoom Fly 4s, I think they are. So yeah, it was a decent decent. It was a real good session for me to get that extra bit of speed in the legs after a couple of days of very, very easy running. That was followed up then on Friday with an easy 5 miles. And again, I've done this on the treadmill. So a lot of my easy runs are done on the treadmill. And a few people have asked me before, should treadmill runs actually count? And I think if you're running to effort over pace, because unless your treadmill's super calibrated, it's never going to be 100% accurate compared to what you can do out in the roads with the GPS and the fancy Garmin's and things like that there. I'll come back to the fancy Garmin's and have a conversation about those at the end of this video too. But yeah, so it was a 5 miles easy on the treadmill. It was controlled and the elevation was marked at 1%, just rocking up and getting it done. 46 minutes, 9 minutes 12, done, dusted, very, very straightforward. The next day I was working in Tullymore. So within the main day job, we do some courses, and this was a fell lurf course. It was a full day. I had drove the hour and perhaps about an hour and 30 minutes to get there in the morning. Had anticipated having a little bit more time to get a run done before the course started, or perhaps staying on later and doing the run. But I didn't get time in the morning. I got there about 10 to 8, had to scout out some locations to hold the course that was safe for the participants. Then the course itself ran all day, finished up about 4:30, and it was absolutely pouring. And I just didn't feel like going out for a run. So I did record a 5K walk that day, just in and around the forest myself, just with the different bits and pieces that I was doing. So it was a missed session. It was meant to be a tune-up race. That's what the plan has stated here. But I knew I was never going to race it anyway. I was going to probably do about 5 miles. But yeah, so missed session. Was it missed? Was it not missed? We'll soon see with regards to the Sunday run. So Sunday on the 1st of October, one of my favorite events in the calendar is the Monaghan Phoenix Festival of Running. Not just because they have a fantastic looking t-shirt and medal, but the whole event and the whole sort of town really, really embraced the event. There's a lot of support out at it. It's picturesque. It's through Rossmore Country Park. But then the actual organization of it itself, the guys really, really look after their runners. So myself and Lee decided we would go down and do it. And what I've done in the past, and I've alluded to this a few times, and what I was making a big change this time around was what I've done in the past is justified doing a marathon in preparation for a marathon just because I can. But I know looking back over my training calendars over the last couple of years that it takes it a little bit more out of me. It makes me a bit more fatigued, and it impacts the training that I do the following weeks. So I was going down to Monaghan and signed up for the half marathon. So half marathon was done. The original plan, whenever I was chatting to Lee, whenever we signed up, was to go out at around 8 to 8:30 pace. That went out the window in the first mile. The second mile, we were still holding 7:25s, and we made a sort of ad hoc decision at this stage to run the half marathon at marathon pace or marathon goal pace. So it was 7:30 pace was what we were aiming for, or sort of in around that area. And that was absolutely fine. So got through the first part of the course, which is in and around Monaghan town. The marathon that is a slightly different course, but the first 8 miles is done around the town. Absolutely lovely. See down south, they've got some lovely greenways, walks. Most of it was off the road, so it was very, very safe, and it wasn't too hilly. And then you do a 5-mile loop of the park, Rossmore Park itself, and that's where the terrain changes. You change from nice roads and greenways and tarmacs, and then all of a sudden you're running on trails and hills, and there's lots of twists and turns, and GPS cuts out, so it gets quite difficult to hold pace and keep an eye on it. But I suppose it's a mental thing. And then just to not let the head go whenever things like that happen, because that's going to happen in big city marathons when you're running through tall buildings and things like that there as well. So running more to effort, and knowing what 7:30, 7:35s feel like. There was a slight break in the marathon where I had to run to the loo between the sort of road and the park section. And if I take out the sort of 1.5 minute, 2 minute break there, I would have been holding 7:25s over the whole of the race, which is a wee bit sharper than marathon goal pace, but felt nice, felt comfortable. I felt that I was very much in control for the whole 13 miles. My breathing was fine. I was conversational pace. And even with the hills and things like that there, it never once felt like it was phasing me. It's probably the strongest that I have felt ever doing Monaghan. I've done the half now, I think, 3 times, and the marathon 3 times. I could be corrected in that there. It might be 2 and 4. Sometimes these do blur into each other. But post race, to get the miles up, we went back out and we did another 5 miles, just super easy, which brought us up to sort of 18 miles for the long run for the day, which was nice. And then I come home and got showered, and the dog was jumping up at me, looking to go out for a walk. And that missed run from Saturday played on my mind. And I thought, do you know, the legs are feeling pretty good here. I'm not absolutely busted. Let's go for a run up the mountain. So yeah, after doing a half marathon with 5 miles at the end of it, driving back home, I was up the mountain for 4.5 miles run. And to make it, sort of tried to slow myself down, tried not to run as much of it as I should, as I normally do. So what I ended up doing was taking myself up through the trees. So anybody who knows Enniscarn Forest, or Sleeve Galleon, will know that there's a lovely path that brings you up to the top. But I decided to bomb through the trees and took myself completely off the trail. In hindsight, looking at that there, it was probably stupid because there was so many risks involved with that there. The risk of running into, rocks and trees and branches and twisting ankles and feet. And I did roll my ankle a couple of times, which tends to happen whenever I'm coming down mountains fast. But I was end up 4.5 miles. So yeah, it was pretty good. So a wee quick summary of that week there. That ended up being a 56-mile week, a slight down week from the 70 odds the week before. It was just under or just over 9 hours of running as well. So a real enjoyable week, good mixture of things, lots of easy runs, good bit of speed work, and an event through in there and a mountain run as well. Really, really enjoyed that week, and set me up nicely for week 10. So I'll say this is a double episode, so I'm coming in with another one here. So week 10 started then on the 2nd of October. So that was week 17 of the training block, I do believe. And Monday was rest day. Which was great. It was fantastic. And when I say rest, for the last sort of training block, I've been doing an active recovery. So I've either been doing a intentional walk, a row, or a cycle, just to keep my legs spinning around, covering at least 5K as a bare minimum, and doing maybe a bit of mobility work as well. So it's not quite a rest day, but it's a non-running day. Is maybe a better way to put it. So Tuesday started off. The original plan was to do 6 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon, but I felt a wee bit of extra time, so I was able just to squeeze out one big 10-mile run with this one. And it felt pretty good. I was happy with how it went. I'd done 10 miles, 1 hour 22. It was a known route. I think if I remember, it was the Tefelta 10-mile route. If anybody knows it around Magderfelt, it was an event that was run about 4 or 5 years ago. It was a one-off, a fantastic route organized by the club, and it would be great to see it back in the calendar, because there's not a lot of 10-mile runs around mid-Ulster. But anyway, I diverge. It's a good route. I do it quite a lot whenever I have a 10-mile run to do. I tend to stick to the same routes whenever I've got a certain run to do. And the reason that I do that there, it allows me to know where my fitness is at. It allows me to know where my recovery is at. It allows me to know what effort I'm running. So if I'm doing that route and I'm coming in at 8:15s on that day that I did, I know that I'm feeling very good because that was easy paced and easy effort. If I had come in sort of 8:30s or 8:45s, I'm probably a little bit more tired. Or if I had to come in a wee bit too sharp, I'm able to say that there. I know when to pull back on the hills. So having known routes and known distances just allows you to take a lot of the guesswork out of your efforts at where you're at in the training. So 10 miles done on Tuesday, the 3rd of October. The next day was a speed work day. And I looked at this session and I'm actually looking at it now and realizing that no, did I do this wrong? Oh, hang on a wee second. Hang on, I think I might have done this session wrong now. I'm actually looking at the actual plan and what I put in. 5 by 1.26. Oh my gosh, I did. Okay, this is why this session felt so tough. Right. So I was just about to say this is the toughest interval session that I've ever done, and now I know the reason. So I'm looking at the plan that I wrote and have misread. It was meant to be 5 at 1200 meters at 5k pace. My 5k pace is, based on everything that I'm doing, sort of in and around that sort of 6:20, 6:25 mark at the moment. So just sitting at underneath 20 minutes. I done 6 by 1200 meters. And I was trying to work out why was it so hard, but there we go. I done an extra rep. So I took myself to the treadmill. I took myself off to Greenville Leisure Centre to do this here. I did a 10-minute easy run to start off with. I programmed in 6:20 pace into the treadmill, which was about 4:43 per 1200. I gave myself 2 minutes 25 seconds recovery, so 50% recovery. And it was just bang out 1200 meters and hold that there effort. It got really tough after the fourth one. And the fifth one, I was struggling, but I still held on. And the sixth one, I was questioning most of my life choices. And now I know why, because I wasn't meant to do a sixth one. But now looking back, it was a really, really good session. In terms of the ability that I actually have. So maybe a little bit fitter than I anticipated I would be at this point in the plan, which is no mean feat. I finished that there session up by just doing another 30 minutes easy running, just to sort of get a little bit of recovery into the legs. So it turned out that it was just over 11 miles total on the treadmill, and just under an hour and a half of running. Thursday's run, the legs were shot to pieces. I done a 5 mile easy run. Actually just lied to you there. Okay. So Thursday, I didn't do a run. I have wrote 5 miles into the plan here. Thursday, the legs were that shot. I ended up doing a 4 mile walk. Just to give the legs a little bit of a recovery, and took the day off from running. Missed that day completely. So yeah, I don't know why I've wrote it in that there, but so Thursday was not a non-running day. So Friday, then the 6th of October, was a 14-mile long run in the morning. Meant to be easy paced, and I think this shows the power of a recovery or a rest day. It felt really easy, and I done 7:59 average and held a very, very consistent pace at that there as well. It was sort of sitting in and around the 8:01 mark for the most of it, and then the last mile, the legs and stride just opened a little bit, and it dropped down to 7:59s. So it was a real good run. Again, it was a known course. It's a course that I normally do a 13-mile run on, and just added an extra mile loop into it. Again, very, very hilly. Most runs around Mid-Ulster are very hilly, and it felt good. And again, as I just said there a few seconds ago even, it shows the power of rest and recovery, and how easy it can make running feel the next day. That evening, I went on to work and had a cancellation. Sports massage, somebody cancelled on me, so I had a free hour. So what did I do? I made up that 5 mile run. I say this to every runner I coach, okay, and I really, should listen to my own advice. When a run is missed, forget about it. Do not cram it in. But I had time, and I'm not going to sit about doing nothing or scrolling on social media or whatever it may be. I had already done a little bit of recovery and stretching that day, so I thought, you know what, I'll just go out and do a 5 mile easy run here. So I did it. I threw on the head torch and went out for a really, really easy run. It was done at like 8:40 pace. Started at sort of 9. 49.50s, and as the run went on, the pace picked up a little bit, picked up gradually. It ended up turning into a bit of a progressive run as well, but felt really good. First headlight run of the season as well. Think I need a new head torch. I wasn't really happy with the one that I had. It felt cumbersome on my head, but that's a conversation for another day. But anyway, ended up doing 19 miles on Friday, and I made up. Made up the sort of missed session there. Saturday. What did I do on Saturday? I done 7 miles easy, and it was on the treadmill. I was meant to do an 8-mile run this day, so it was 7 miles plus strides, and whenever I was doing it on my own wee treadmill at home. Doesn't really allow me to get much pace up on it, so I didn't want to push the strides in case I went flying off the back of it. So I just stuck to the 7 miles. Super easy recovery pace, and I mean super easy recovery this time. It was just over 10-minute miles on average, and I was trying to keep the heart rate in and around the sort of zone 1, so it's about 130, 135, allowing for real recovery just as we're entering the longest run of the training plan the following day. I wanted to leave myself in the best possible condition for that. Which leads me on then to Sunday the 8th of October. Last big long run. This time round, I'm giving myself a 3-week taper. Usually I do a 2-week taper. Sometimes I've done a 0 taper. But this one here, I am going to follow a 3-week taper and let that drop down. So it's 22-mile run. And it was at comfortable pace, not killing myself, not running at stupidly fast paces, just going out and controlling it and getting that run done. I had programmed in a 22-mile run. It took me from Marafelt into Castledawson, Balahay, then over to Kilnady, Galladuff, and Clockram, and back home that way. And everything was going pretty well. I ran the road into Castledawson, out to Balahay, turned left onto the road towards Kilnady, and the Mullaboy Road is stupidly hilly. It is like rolling hills, and every hill gets longer and harder each time you do it. But I let my ego stay at home and didn't force the pace here. This was all about building that aerobic capacity over a long endurance run. So I let the pace drop on the uphills, and I seen the average sort of pace drop to about 8:35s, and at normally or in previous training blocks, I probably would have let my ego, make me speed up there and end up hurting myself or busting myself, and stop training the energy system that I'm meant to be training. So I just let the pace naturally drop off and keep the effort the same. I got down that road, and because I didn't have the map programmed into my Garmin, because I went back to the instinct, and I'll tell you why in a wee second with regards to that there. But I ended up like, how did I get to Kilnady from here? Because there were no signs, and ended up running one road, and it was taking me to Clary, not Kilnady, and I realized that this is not the way I want to be. So I ended up running out that road anyway, got to 11 miles, and turned and just made it back. And instantly regretted having ever hit the Mullaboy Road and had hit all those hills on the way back. But from a pure training point of view, it was a real good solid long run, 22 miles done, just over 3 hours, 3 hours 6 minutes and 55 minutes. Came in the door feeling fresh, which is not something that I've been able to say a lot in the past after doing long runs. The long training block, the miles and miles, and the consistent training has definitely paid off for that there. Real good big confidence boost, knowing that I can cover 22 miles with relative ease. Fueling wise, I had some Glyph gel blocks with me and took two of them, I think it was, and a little bit of water as well, because I wasn't really pushing too hard. It was quite warm, just as I remember that there, which is really, really strange in the first week of October to be able to still go out and run in your vest and shorts and be hot from the sun and not from the effort. So it was really nice. But yeah, ended up 8:30 average, picked the pace up in the final couple of miles because I knew it was getting close to home, but still felt really good after that there. So to summarize that week, it was 69 miles out of the 70, with 9 hours 43, not including the walk and the things that I'd done there as well. The overall summary, for the training block before I start talking about Garmin data and things like that there is 1,004 miles. So in under 4 months, I've done 1,004 miles and I've spent 146 hours and 58 minutes in training. That's just the running. Doesn't include the mobility, doesn't include the strength, doesn't include the walks, the rowing, the cycling, or anything else. That's an awful, awful lot of running. But anyway, it is starting to feel good. I think I am about 8 miles missing from where I should be. Planned to date, I've done 99% of the training to date. Absolutely never have followed a training plan as robust as this year. If I stopped now and didn't train another day and finished the marathon, I would still have done 87% of the training plan. But that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to run through the next 3 weeks and taper down. So to talk about Garmin, and I'll finish up in this here and hopefully get this wrapped up in under 30 minutes for you. My Garmin Fenix 6 has been a wonderful, wonderful watch. It tells you lots of data, and I really, really like my data. I like to analyze it. I like to sort of have a look at it and sort of see the efforts and things like that there. And whenever I first started this training block, my Garmin had been broke and was sent away for repairs and come back, and that was fine. But I picked up this wee watch here to get me through. And the difference in the two watches is the Instinct is a fantastic watch, has a great battery, records everything that I need whenever I'm going out running, heart rate, GPS, etc. But it doesn't record some of the other analytics data that you get from Garmin. For example, your sleep patterns, your training status, your stress levels. And when I was looking at the Fenix 6 over the last 3-4 weeks, it was pretty much telling me that I'm overtraining, that I'm strained, that I'm not getting enough sleep. And this was probably starting to play on my mind a little bit. Whereas when I was using this watch and doing a similar volume of training and wasn't getting that data feedback, I was feeling good. And internally and externally, I am feeling good. I'm feeling fit. I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling healthy. And the data that it's given me, yes, my heart rate might be a wee bit up, but I'm running over 100k a week. That's to be expected. And if I listened to the Garmin data and rested for 72 hours after doing an interval session, it doesn't leave you a lot of time for training in the week. So I've ditched the Fenix 6 and went back to the Instinct this week, and pretty much most of last week as well. And that's, I think, why the runs were feeling better. Internally I'm feeling better. Internally I feel still as confident, even though I've just done the longest training week in the block, the longest runs, interval sessions and everything. And I'm waking up in the morning feeling fresh. I am feeling that I can go out and do the sessions. I'm feeling after the sessions that I can do more. I don't need to listen to all of that data. So yeah, I've ditched the Fenix 6, and I'll keep it off for the next 3 weeks while I'm tapering down, and just go by feel. Go by how I feel. I'm an experienced runner. I know how things feel. So yeah, I'm just going to go with feel and yeah, get through the taper. Look, guys, I don't know how many people will get to see this video because it's being done a little bit differently. I don't have the graphics showing the paces and things like that there. I just want to thank you all for watching, staying with me on this journey towards Dublin. If you are training, I hope everything has been going well for you as well. And if you do have any questions on your own training or recovery, or taper, drop me a comment or send me a message, and I'll hopefully get to answer you. All right, bye. Bye.